Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the League Racing TV YouTube channel for round 6 of the Division 3 season. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Carmentus. I'll be taking you through proceedings on a Thursday night, as always. And as always, joining me in the comments box tonight is TTGA Conti. Conti, how are you this evening?
Yeah, I'm doing really well, and as always, really looking forward to tonight's race because it's just an incredible division to commentate over. And how are you doing yourself?
I'm doing very well, thank you. My voice has recovered after last night's Esports Masters League race. I'm sure a lot of you watching now probably watched that, and you will know that that stream went on for about 2 hours, and I lost my voice a few times throughout that stream. It was a crazy race, but I have fully recovered, ready for another crazy Division 3 race. And I think we're sounding a little bit like a broken record at this point in the season, aren't we, in saying that this season has been incredible so far. And it's crazy to think that by the time we reach the end of lap 13 in this race, we'll be halfway through the season already, which is crazy to think because it's absolutely flown by. We're on our 6th week now in this division. Crazy to think how far we've come. But at this point in the championship, we're just going to run you through the championship standings coming into round 6. So if you guys missed the race last time out, B Morgan unfortunately disconnected a lap and a half away from the end of the race. He fell down to, I believe, about 9th place on track. His AI car fell down to, but the results were taken at the end of the penultimate lap of the race, which means that B Morgan finished second in that race in the end. So he now leads the championship on 104 points, 17 points clear of Jan, who runs second, and that is the biggest championship lead we've had all season long. Simply Superman runs third ahead of Isotopic in fourth, Hero Joke in fifth, Old School sixth ahead of Kiki seventh, Sean eighth, Linety ninth, and Martin Bell, who picked up his first win last time out in France, he rounds off the top 10 on 45 points. And the top 9 in the championship, separated by just over 50 points, and obviously with the different point system we have in TTML, you've got to say that even though B Morgan has a pretty big lead at this point in the championship, it's still at anyone's this championship, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. He has a little bit of a gap now, but yeah, still in the back. Just one mistake, or maybe not a mistake, but one time not racing can cost him. So yeah, he has a bit of a gap, but it's so incredibly close. And as you said, already almost halfway the season, and you just don't want the season to end. I would just love to go through with the season until the end of the game.
Yeah, really. I love this calendar system that we have of having only 11 races, because I think it really nails home that you have to be on it from the start of the season. You can't make mistakes, but at the same time it means we have a shorter racing season, which is kind of sad because we don't get to see these guys race for a full 22 race calendar. But even so, like I said at the start of the season, and like we've said a couple of times, the organisers of this division have been absolutely brilliant, and they've lined up such a good field for us. At this point in the season, though, you've got to say, while I've just said that anyone in the top 9 of this championship could still come home with the championship victory, B Morgan's got to be the favourite at this point, hasn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, last race, yeah, it was just incredible driving. I don't want to take anything away from Martin Bell because he had an incredible achievement as well, finishing, yeah, on the podium, P1. But yeah, B Morgan looks like the more stable driver, performance-wise.
Yeah.
And the rest, yeah, I think he's a little bit stronger than the guys behind him, so he is my favorite now.
Yeah, he's got to be my favourite for the championship as well. But who knows? Everything could change tonight. We could see someone jump right to the front of the field that could have an incredible race and throw themselves into the ring. So who knows? And at this point in the championship as well, looking back on the amount of people we've had on the podium, we've had so many people finishing on the podium this season. I think if I remember correctly, we are now up to 8 with Martin Bell's race victory last time out. B Morgan and Jan are now the 2 drivers that have had the most podiums this season, 3 apiece, and you've got to say for B Morgan it should have been 4 without his crash that he had on the penultimate lap at the Baku race. So B Morgan and Jan with the most podiums, so it's not a shock to see both of those drivers top 2 in the championship.
No, but yeah, behind them, I mean, behind Jan, it's only 4 points to Simply Superman, so it's just that close, and missing the podium once, and Simply Superman takes it. It's all they're on the same level again. So yeah, but in the end, Jan really last season a couple of mistakes from him, and of course the top 3 were too fast then. But now he's performing really well.
He is really shining, and obviously has a new teammate this season in TTML, Steve, who drove for Red Bull last season alongside Mashiro. So both of those drivers last season really were kind of outshone by their teammate because of how far away the top three were in the championship. This time round, they've both been given the opportunities to shine, and you've got to say that for Steve, while he's had the pace this season, him as well as a few other drivers we've seen, they just haven't been able to get the results that maybe they're worthy of.
Yeah. I mean, Steve isn't one of the top drivers pace-wise, but he is performing. Last season, he performed really well, and yeah, he's lacking that a bit now. But I think in the end, if all the pluses and minuses together, he has a pretty decent season so far.
Yeah, he really has. He has shown a lot of speed throughout the season as well. Just getting that one really strong result hasn't quite come his way. And we were saying before the stream got underway as well that a lot of people, especially in the mid part of the top 10 in the pack, have not done the same as B Morgan in being consistently at the front. They've either been right at the top winning races, or they've been struggling at the bottom end of the top 10, and that especially applies to Isotopic, doesn't it, who we're currently riding on board with. Actually, he's had such an up and down season. It's amazing that he's currently 4th in the standings and still right in the thick of the battle, but 2 races this season he's been right at the front challenging for the wins, and other races he's just been kind of languishing at the bottom end of the top 10.
Yeah, he is, and yeah, it's either just a rough diamond to watch, or it's just dirt. I mean, I don't know how to describe it elsewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, he can really shine some races, and we've seen his pace on some tracks is really good. His racecraft is good, his defensive driving is good, but some tracks just don't suit him, and he's absolutely nowhere then. And yeah, you have to have a little bit of luck as well. What we said with Steve. I mean, he is performing reasonably well, but sometimes you just need the luck, a little bit luck on your side.
Yeah, we're on board now with another one who needs that luck on his side, and that is Nolan. He'll be the first person to start a lap then around Britain. Imagine pole position here to be about in the mid to low 24s. That's if you want to be right at the front of the field. Nolan then comes through the first part of the lap through Abbey, and then down into the village section, through farm into village, and now into the loop hairpin as well. So crucial to get on the power as early as you can through here for the run through Aintree and down the Wellington straight. A little bit of a wobble on the exit of the hairpin, but he gets away with it. Down this Wellington straight and towards Brooklands then. A very fast left-hander. It tightens on the exit, getting ready for the long right-hander of Luffield. A 26.8 in the first sector. That's a brilliant first sector time from Nolan. Through Luffield then. Seems to never end this corner. Run out wide, don't go too wide and into the gravel. Gets onto the curb nicely. Now through Woodcut, not a corner in modern Formula 1 cars. Coming up to Cox, which is barely a corner now in modern Formula 1 cars. It's easy flat in qualifying, and you can see that there. Nolan turns the car in. Easy, no struggle there, no understeer mid-corner. Now coming up into the Maggots and Beckett's complex through the first 2 corners. That's Maggots. A little bit of a wobble on the exit of Maggots coming into Beckett, so he had to back off coming through Beckett's and now through a Chapel. That's going to cost him a bit of time, and it will cost his speed down the hanger straight as well. You need as best as run as you can through that complex to get as fast as you can down this straight towards the uphill braking zone for Stowe. Brake very late for this corner. Come right to the curb on the exit of the corner. Don't run out too wide. And now into the Vale and Club chicane. Hit the sausage curb on the inside. Nolan nails that, as he does in the second part as well. A little bit of oversteer again. It looks like he's got a bit of an oversteer set up through the final corner, and a 24.8. But you've got to say there's still time in that lap with a few wobbles on that one. He's got some pace in there. Isotopic will be next across the line on a 25 flat, 0.2 of a second slower. Hero Joking goes slap bang in the middle of them on a 24.9. Simply Superman with a 24.6 goes into provisional pole position. We've now got the Renault of Harry Wagon, a 25.4, currently 5th fastest. Flores now goes 6th. Langfell now goes 6th on a 25.5. We've got the next Renault of B Morgan, our championship leader, coming round to set his first time in the session. Where can he go? Current championship leader has been right at the front of the field all season long. Can he qualify at the front of the field? Crosses the line, 24.7, goes onto the front row, but that opening lap from Simply Superman holding steady at the moment on a 24.6. That's Jan crossing the line of 41.6. So he's obviously made a mistake somewhere around his lap. We've now got one of the Red Bulls coming up to line. That is Sean, who is once again on those medium tyres. We see this so many times from him. Crosses the line, a 26 flat on the mediums. There's a fairly competitive time around Silverstone, so look out for him to improve when he puts the soft tyres on later. We've now got Kiki on an out lap, just starting his final run as well. We've got a few people on laps. Kelvin is back in the Red Bull for this race, currently on an invalid lap at the moment, and we've got one of the Alpha Tyrus behind him on the road. That is Tekken. He's dived into the pit lane, but great opening lap from Simply Superman, and this looks like it might be a track that suits the Alfa Romeo driver.
Yeah, it does. Great time. Still room to improve. As well as we saw on Nolan in Baggets and Maggots, some little mistakes. But and TNR
Oh wow.
Steve with a 1:24.4 on his first run.
Wow,
That
that's
is
a
a really
brilliant
good
time.
time.
That's a brilliant time. A 24-4 from Steph, now over a 10th clear of the rest of the field. And we saw this from Steph at Baku, didn't he? He took pole in Baku, unfortunately had damage very early on in that race and could never really recover from it. But we've seen many times this season, especially in qualifying, that Steph really has the pace to be at the front of the field. And that goes to show how close this division is. Steph currently on pole position. This could be a second pole of the season. And he's not inside the top 10 in the points. He struggled so much to get the results. Lighty's invalidated his run. He crossed the line on 26 flat to get ready for another go, and behind him on the road I believe just Jan just crossed the line in the Mercedes on a 25.3, goes into P7, and we've now got VER Kelvin, oh no never mind, that is Sean coming around on the medium tyres to cross the line on a 25.7 on the medium, so continues to improve. Expect him to go much faster when he puts the soft tyres on though. But that is a brilliant time from Seth. Again, this could be a great opportunity for him to now assert himself as maybe a threat towards the second half of the season.
Yeah, he is. And if I remember correct, his pole position on Baku went horribly wrong in the race. So let's hope if his qualifying, if his lap holds up today, that he can really perform in the race, because it shows he really has pace around this track.
Really does, yeah, and it's crazy to think as well that he's currently on provisional pole at Silverstone, and his only pole so far this season has been at Baku. Two completely different tracks in layout, yeah, and ways you have to drive the circuit. So that bodes well for the rest of the season that Steph is performing on two completely different circuits. Have to wait and see how the rest of the season goes for him. Meanwhile, we'll ride with Lighty once again, who has again invalidated his time. Currently down 14th at the moment, hasn't set a time, so he's going to have to go round and go again on a fresh set of tyres. He won't have enough tyre life or fuel really left in that car to complete another lap, and in front of him on the road, Jan's going to dive into the pit lane as well, and you would imagine Sean will be coming into the pit lane very soon. We'll ride with Break FN now, who is currently going through the final sector of the lap, getting ready to start his first run in the Alfa Romeo. Did race last time out. Unfortunately didn't have the best race. He was kind of languishing in the bottom end of the top 10, and now let's see if he can get a little bit further up. Can he challenge maybe his Alfa Romeo teammate currently on the front row? Break FN then through the first sector of the lap into the farm section, through the village and then through loop. How fast is he looking? A little bit slow on the exit of the corner, a little bit ginger on the power, but you would expect that. Very easy to spin these cars at low speed. Coming through Aintree again, easy flat, and now down the Wellington straight. 26.8 is what we saw from Nolan when we were on board with him. Break FN crosses the same sector split at 26.9, so it's looking like a good start to the lap for Break FN. Through Brooklands, took a very tight line, maybe to try and get a better run through Lovefield. Keeps it a little bit tighter, short shifts up to 4th, doesn't take as much curb as we've seen from other drivers, but it's looking very neat and tidy so far for a first run in the session. Now coming up towards Cops once again, keeps it easy flat through here, runs onto the curb on the left hand side before the corner to try and square off the corner as much as possible. Now through Maggots and Beckett's, we've seen a lot of people wobbling in the middle part of this complex of the track. It looks like a lot of people running very oversteery setups. Break FN looks like he might be running the complete opposite, because that car was looking very stable through there. A 1 minute 1.6 by the end of the second sector, looking like a good time so far. Coming up towards Stowe. Now where can he go in this final sector? Keeps it tight to the inside line. Short shifts up into 6th on the exit of the corner. Again, very, very neat this lap. No mistakes so far into the Vale and Club chicane. First mistake there, a little bit of a lock-up coming into Vale, but it doesn't cost him too much time. And now through the final corner, this lap is looking like it could put him in the top 10. And he goes 3rd with that time, a 24.7, directly behind his Alfa Romeo teammate. Great lap from Break FN.
Yeah, this was a great lap. Really, really nice to see. I mean, really stable car, especially in Maggots and Baggots, no sliding nowhere. So yeah, great lap from Break FM.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. So up to 3rd place at the moment. That would be his best qualifying of the season so far, if he can maintain that to the end of the session. Everyone is now on their second runs. Tekken currently on the run in now. Fatari hasn't set a time as of yet. This man has been struggling so far this season. Internet connections and internet connection issues and all sorts of equipment issues. He's really struggled with that throughout the season, so hopefully he's got that all sorted so he can get a full clean run in a race this season. Coming through the second sector split, it's a 1 minute 2.2, so he's not quite where Break FM was. Meanwhile, Isotopic goes into pole position on a 24.3, now 1.5 tenths clearer as Steph. That's a brilliant time for Isotopic, and he's thrown himself right into the ring. This looks like just the same as Simply Superman, a track that suits the Racing Point driver.
Yeah, this is what we talked about at the start of qualifying, and this is a track that has to suit him. I mean, 1:24.3 is an incredibly fast time, and I think it's going to be hard to beat by the other guys.
Yeah, Langfell, meanwhile, in the second racing point, jumps up to P7 ahead of Nolan. Good lap time of 24.7. Meanwhile, Harry Nawag in the Renault was up to P4. B. Morgan stays P5. So Harry Nawag, currently ahead of his teammate, who wasn't really able to improve on that run, stayed kind of where he was. Jumped ahead of Break FN, but couldn't really get any further than that. So stays fifth at the moment behind his Renault teammate. Who else is currently on a lap? Steph is on another run in the Haskar. We've got one of the Mercedes coming round towards the final part of the lap. That will be Jan coming to finish his outlap, getting ready to start a run. So we'll ride with Steph towards the end of the lap. We've got Kelvin in the pits and Sean on the track directly in front of him. Might get a little bit of understeer through Beckett's because of the dirty air, but Sean's going to move out the way nicely down this straight, and he's just under a tenth up on his personal best. It's not going to put him back onto pole just yet, but it'll get him much closer to Isotopic through the final sector. Little bit of understeer on the way through Stowe there, didn't quite hit the apex. Now coming towards that final chicane once again, looking once again very, very committed. A lot of curb on the inside of Vale. Runs a little bit wide though on the exit there of Club, and invalidates coming through the corner, and it was only going to be a 24.4 at the end. I say only a 24.4. He would have improved even with that mistake in the final sector, but a couple of mistakes there. Steph still improves, so it's not out of the question that he could retake pole position.
No, it isn't. And meanwhile, I'm on board Lighty, who had a 1:17 on the end of the second sector. So and he's almost finishing up his lap, looking really, really clean and neat. One little mistake, but let's see what his time is going to be, because it looked like a stable lap. It's going to be a 25.0 on his first vetted lap.
First fight lap, man, gets that banker in, puts him into 10th place currently. See if he can improve on that as the session goes on. Another one a little bit out of place at the moment is Jan, but he's half a second up currently on his personal best. So he's flying at the moment. Can he put himself right in that battle in the top 10? Look how close it is from 3rd all the way down to 8th at the moment. Just 0.2 of a second covering the 5 drivers. Jan's going to slot himself right in the middle of that. Goes P7 on the 24.7. 7th place for him then, just ahead of Langfeld by 0.09 of a second. Once again, qualifying in Division 3 is incredibly close.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen races who weren't as exciting as qualifying in this division, so yeah, really, it's just a joy to watch.
Yeah, it really is great to see so many people so close together. We've got one of the Red Bulls coming to the line. That will be Sean. His first lap on the softs goes P10 on a 24.9. So let's see if he can further improve on that. That knocks Hero Joking outside of the top 10. The race winner at the first race of the season, struggling really to match that performance at the start of the season. One of the Alfa Romeos has just crossed the line. That's Simply Superman getting ready to start his next run in qualifying. Kiki, his first lap in Silverstone then, currently down in 16th. Hasn't set a time, crosses the line on a 24.5. Goes P3 on his first run, so that's another person that's thrown his hat into the ring in this qualifying session. P3 for him, that is a very, very good time, and with his teammate not here today, Kiki is flying the flag for Williams.
Yeah, and they really need the points for the championship as well, and yeah, let's see. I hope he has enough time for a final run.
Yeah, Nolan meanwhile is on another lap as well, 10.5 up on his personal best coming out of the second sector. We saw him make a little bit of an error in the final sector as well, so can he further improve on P10 currently? Goes P6 on a 24.6. Good lap time once again, and that's more people right in the thick of that battle. He splits the 2 Renaults, but he's still a little bit outshone by his Haas teammate. Good lap from Nolan, but even a tiny mistake in qualifying. I say Simply Superman made a small mistake on his first run. Could have dropped him from 4th pretty much all the way down to 10th in qualifying. And meanwhile, actually, as I say that, Simply Superman is flying at the moment. A 1 minute 1.3 at the end of the second sector. So we'll watch his final sector, see if he can get back onto provisional pole. He was the first person onto provisional pole in this session. He's now 4th on the grid in the Alfa Romeo, looking to close in on B. Morgan and Jan in the championship. Currently 3rd in the standings. Has picked up a win this season. Comes around the final corner, and it's a 24.4 to go back on the front row ahead of Steph, but still not close enough to pass Isotopic.
Yeah, and I think this is Simply Superman's final run, but yeah, just again so close, 1/10 between Isotopic and Simply Superman, and just what is it, 700ths of a second between him and Steph. So it's not over yet, and yeah, from P1 to probably P8, P9, it's all up for the grabs still.
Yeah, it really is. I think anyone all the way down probably to Langfeld could still come through with a brilliant lap at the end of the session and take pole. Kelvin's on a lap meanwhile in the second Red Bull. Currently last on the grid, goes P14 with a 25.3 ahead of Flores, but just behind 90. Steve behind him is on the road on a lap as well. He's nearly 0.8 of a second up on his personal best. Currently a 25.5, does a 24.7, so that's yet another driver that goes into the 24.7s. Look at that, we've got 5 drivers in the 24.7s. He goes P7 then ahead of B Morgan. So B Morgan currently still 8th on the grid, championship leader, not looking as if he's that comfortable yet around Silverstone.
No, not yet, but he's waiting in the pits for the right moment to exit and set his final lap, and but he really needs a cracker of a lap to get pole position or on the first starting row.
Yeah, he really does. And the problem for him at the moment, Jan is directly behind him on the track, so that's good for his championship. But Isotopic and Simply Superman, both two very fast drivers who, from last season and this season, have been completely inseparable. I think every time we see Simply Superman on the track, Isotopic is either directly in front or directly behind him. These two on a charge here today, and they are 3rd and 4th in the standings, not too far back either. So this is great for them. Break FM, meanwhile, is on another lap, nearly 2 tenths up in the first sector. That's a great first sector from the Alfa Romeo driver. That would already put him well up into 5th place from 9th at the moment. So we'll follow him round for this lap. He'll be the next person, I believe, to finish a lap in qualifying. Harry Nowak is on a lap behind him on the road as well, so we'll wait and see what he can do. Currently 5th on the grid. That would be his best qualifying of the season so far. Currently ahead of his teammate as well, and that might be one of the only times this season he could have out-qualified B Morgan. Break FM then coming through Maggots and Beckett's. How fast is this looking? Through Beckett's then, very committed once again. This car looking incredibly easy to drive in the hands of Break FM through the second sector split. He's still that 2 tenths of a second up. Didn't find any extra speed in the middle sector, but he hasn't lost anything. So how is his final sector looking? He did lock up here into the Vale chicane on the previous lap. Nice and neat once again through Stowe. Doesn't use all of the road. Now into the Vale Club chicane. Does he lock up again this time round? He does, but it's not quite as severe. Gets the car turned in nicely through Club. Where can Break FM put the Alfa Romeo? Can he put it maybe on the second row? Not quite, but he goes P5 with a good final sector. 24.5, just behind Kiki, just ahead of Harry Nowak, and that is it. Only 0.18 second improvement. We got him from 9th to 5th. Harry Nowak, meanwhile, on a lap behind him. Little bit of a mistake out of Club. I don't think he's going to improve. No, he doesn't. So Harry Nowak stays P6 for the time being.
Yeah, Break FM, his car looks so stable, his steering input so smooth. It's just, yeah, it's great to watch Break race.
Yeah, he looks like he might look very strong for the race conditions. Yeah. Meanwhile, Lighty crosses the line, P12 on a 24.8, so he's not inside the top 10. That's one of his worst qualifyings of the season so far. One of the Haas cars, or both of the Haas cars, are just coming to cross the line. We've got the 2 racing points as well coming to start their final runs, and then Kiki behind him will be on their final run as well. And then it's Sean. Sean will be the last person to start his final run in qualifying with about 10 seconds to go. So all the cars behind him on the track are currently on laps. So the first one will be Tekken, currently 17th, isn't improving, and that's actually completely missing his front wing, so he's gone off the road somewhere quite heavily. Will qualify 17th on the grid, unfortunately. Starts dead last in this one. One of the Mercedes, that'll be Jan directly behind on the road. 2 tenths up on his personal best, currently 10th on the grid on a 24.7. Can he get right to the front of the field? The session is over, so now we wait and see what people can do. Jan comes to cross the line, and it's 24.4. 3 tenths of a second gets him from 10th to 3rd. What a lap from Jan. Now he's right in the thick of the action as well. We've now got Simply Superman. He's out of the session already, so he's not going to be improving on second place. B Morgan, I think, has been given a tow by his teammate. B Morgan coming into the final sector. He's only just under a 10th up on his personal best, so this could gain in a couple of spots. Crosses the line. Amazing final sector. Wow, where did that come from? And he now goes 3rd on the grid, just ahead of Jan, but just behind Simply Superman on the track. Flores crosses the line 16th on the grid. We now wait for the next Haas car to cross the line. That will be Steph. He will be the next person. He's slightly up on his time. Was on provisional pole at the start of the session. Comes to cross the line. Goes P2. Goes onto the front row just ahead of Simply Superman. Next person to cross the line will be Nolan. And he goes onto pole position with a great final run. A 24.3. He takes it. Isotopic improves, but not by enough. Look at that. 6 thousandths of a second. Kiki next across the line. Goes onto pole with a 24 flat. What a lap time from Kiki. That is Sean will be next across the line, currently 14th, stays 14th on the grid. So now we just wait. That's everyone's session over then. Break FN just in the pit lane. That's why the session's still going. But we thought it was going to be Isotopic, then we thought it was Nolan, and from nowhere, Kiki sets a blinding lap time, 3 tenths of a second clear of the rest of the field.
Yeah, incredible. I don't know where that came from, but he is fast, but he doesn't look that fast. And yeah, out of nothing, it's pole position for him.
What an incredible time from Kiki then. 0.3 of a second clear. We were going to have probably one of the closest qualifyings in TTML history with Nolan and Isotopic, and Kiki came in and spoiled that and just blew that out the water. But look at that. Nolan, Isotopic, separated by 0.6 of a second. 10th back to Steph in 4th. Simply Superman and B Morgan. 3 drivers within 100th of a second. 400ths back to Jan, 7th place on the grid. Break FN 8th ahead of Hero Joke in 9th. Harry Noir grounds off the top 10. 6/10 covers the top 10. Steve, Langfell, Lighty, Sean, Kelvin, Flores and Tekken round off the grid. But that's 6/10 covering the top 10, 0.3 of a second from 2nd to 10th. This race is shaping up to be something incredible.
Yeah, they're so evenly matched. I mean, this is gonna be probably a DRS train and a lot of action because it's a really great racing track. This, and there are enough opportunities to overtake. So yeah, I'm just warming up. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good one. And we've had some good races in the past already. I mean, every race was good, but I think this one is gonna be the best so far.
Yeah, please, Silverstone, give us a great race. I don't want to be too biased and say that Silverstone is the best track on the calendar because I live about 5 miles away from Silverstone, but I don't want to show too much favouritism, but you've got to say this track is absolutely incredible. It's so great that we have this track on the Formula 1 calendar. So wait and see what this race gives us. And obviously one thing to look out for will be the people just outside the top 10, starting maybe on an alternate strategy. Around this track, though, the alternate strategy may not be that powerful because the tyre wear around this track, for a track that has so many high-speed corners and so many traction zones as well in the first part of the lap, the tyre wear around here is actually quite minimal.
Yeah, yeah, it is. You can just keep on going on whatever tire you like. And in real life, this track is kind of hard on the tires, but in this game, it's yeah, not so much. So it's pretty good. You can do a lot of laps on the mediums, and it's a great tire to be on around this track. So
yeah, it really
yeah,
is.
the ultimate strategy not as powerful as it is in real life.
Yeah, it really isn't. The alternate strategy here won't be as powerful as it was, say, in France last time out, where it was definitely the better strategy to be on if you're outside the top 10. Speaking of people outside the top 10 then, everyone is pretty much on the mediums outside the top 10, apart from Langfell in 12th. He's on the soft compound tyres, and Tekken 17th on the grid. After making that mistake on his final run in qualifying, he starts on the soft tyres at the back of the grid, clearly trying to make places as early as possible.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, you have to just barge up the field if you go for the softer strategy at the start of this race, or you're gonna be struggling at the end.
Yeah, you'll just kind of get stuck in a pack of medium runners because the ultimate pace actually here between the mediums and the soft isn't really that big for a track with so many corners, and what is, I believe, the third or maybe second longest track on the calendar in terms of distance. You don't lose a lot of the time. It's just under a second, I think, the delta between the softs and the mediums here, so it's quite a small amount. So we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Steve will be the lead medium runner off the line, so we'll wait and see what he can do. Look out again though for Lighty and Sean. Lighty and Sean maybe not necessarily the best qualifiers, although we say that Lighty I think has picked up maybe a pole position already this season. Sean especially doesn't qualify too well, but in the previous races we've just seen him fly through the field, kind of under the radar, just kind of appear at the front of the field.
Yeah, he does. He's a lap one ninja. I mean, he most of the times he has a great start and just wins a couple of positions in lap one, and he just appears out of nowhere sometimes. He starts P40 now, but I won't be surprised if he's in P10 after the first couple of corners.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. And like we said, with Isotopic and Simply Superman barely being separable, him and Sean and Lighty are inseparable this season as well. They've been pretty much in each other's wing mirrors whole season long. But here we go then. Tekken will be the last person to line up in his grid slot. 17th on the grid. We've got a great race ahead of us. Sure to be Kiki on the front row. His first pole position of the season, taking over where Old School left off. And Nolan on the front row for the first time this season. 2 drivers looking for their first win of the season. We have got a little bit of a delay on this grid, unfortunately, so maybe we might have a little bit of a connection issue with someone in the field. Hopefully it doesn't keep us held for too long. We'll have to wait and see. But either way, like we said, both drivers on the front row looking for their first win of the season. Isotopic looking for his second, Steph looking for his first. B Morgan, our championship leader, only 6th on the grid. He's ahead of Jan, but behind Simply Superman and Isotopic. So a great opportunity for those two drivers, the two latter drivers, to gain in this championship. And it does unfortunately look like we have a little bit of a delay on the grid, so we may be getting a lobby restart.
Yeah, it could be. It wouldn't be the first time, and probably not going to be the last time as well. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I think if anyone was watching the esports race we had yesterday, never mind. We are going. It was a bit of a delay, but here we go. Who's going to get the best start off the front row? Lights are out, away they go, and it looks like Nolan's had a pretty good start from second place. Kiki squirming all over the road. Someone's broken their front wing in the background. That might have been Break FN, or it might have been Simply Superman. One of the Alfa Romeos was definitely on the grass into turn 1, but Nolan got the best of the starts. He's up into first place. Kiki was wobbling all over the road. Steph has had a great start. He's up to third. B Morgan up to fourth. What a start for him, but Jan's down the inside trying to capitalise. Getting down the inside of that corner. Have the inside for Aintree, but B Morgan sweeps across in front. Keeps fourth place. Isotopic has dropped to 6th from 3rd on the grid. What a terrible start for him, and he's picked up damage crucially. First, the lead of the people in the championship on the field has picked up damage, and Simply Superman's fallen like a brick at the start of this race, down to 6th, trying to go round the outside of Isotopic, a little bit of argy-bargy. He gets through ahead of the man with damage. Break FM will be the next person to have a go at Isotopic, who is falling like a stone with that damage. Chaos in the background. Kelvin and Tekken going side by side, going into cops. Tekken trying to make places. Steve's off the road as well. Sean's made up a couple places on Flores and Lighty already. He's up to 12th place. Meanwhile, Langfell passes his teammate Isotopic with a damage around this chat. Damage can really cost you here, and he's really fallen. Harry Nawag's had a poor start as well, down to 11th place, and Sean on those medium tyres all over the back of him. All of a sudden, Sean's going to get maybe the pair of them down this straight. He's past Harry Nawag. Is he going to look for the inside line on Isotopic? No, he isn't. Lighty's going to look for the inside on Harry Nawag, who runs a bit wide, and Lighty kind of understeers into the side of him. Lighty's around, and as that was Isotopic trying to dive into the pit lane, Harry Nawag got caught out by it, got run into the back of, and there's a little bit more carnage at the background as Flores has now gone past the pair of them and into 11th place. Tekken's trying to work his way through but can't quite do so, and Sean's done exactly what he said he would do. He's into 10th place at the end of the first lap. Meanwhile, Nolan at the front of the field still leads. Kiki has recovered after a poor start, but incredibly crucial for B Morgan that 2 of his 3 championship contenders have had terrible starts.
Yeah, it is, and he won a couple of positions as well. X and Nolan, Kiki, Steph and B Morgan all looking quite okay now. They're settling in this place, and probably is going to stay a couple of laps in the position they are now. But yeah, what a drama for Isotopic. I mean, he fight really good, and it cost him going for the hard tires now, and probably is going to try to finish the race on them.
Yeah, he probably will try to do so, hoping maybe for a late safety car, and who knows, it could come at Silverstone. But what a great opportunity gone for Isotopic, with really before the first corner even happened, he picked up that damage, which is such a shame. Meanwhile, back to the front of the field, Nolan continues to lead, but he is not pulling away from Kiki. Kiki, after that poor start, is right back on him. He has recovered. He is still within DRS range, so Nolan hasn't been able to break that. Steph in third, looking strong as well, looking like a good race so far for the Haas team, currently running first and third. There's B Morgan fourth, bit of a gap back to Jan in 5th, and then a bit of a gap back to Simply Superman, who currently runs 6th as well. So there's a little bit of a spread coming in the top 5 at the moment. Looking like Simply Superman's just within DRS range of Jan in front, and Jan was just in DRS range of B Morgan, but he might fall out of that in this first part of the lap. Break FN has had a good start in the second Alfa Romeo. He currently runs 7th. Hero Jokin's had a good start as well. He runs 8th. 9th from 12th on the grid, and Sean has caught the lot of them. So Sean on the medium tyres, 2.2 seconds clear of Flores, who's holding Harry Bog, Steve, Tekken and Kelvin up. So Flores doing Sean a really solid job. And now Sean 10th in the road, within DRS range of the soft runners in front, has a great opportunity in this race as Harry Nawag is going to look to the inside of Flores down towards Brooklands. Flores tries to defend the line, but Harry Nawag gets down the inside and is back up into 11th place, trying to work his way back to the queue in front, but he's already dropped 2.5 seconds to them.
Yeah, and Tekken really struggling at a couple of positions, but on the soft tires he really should have been further up the road than he is now, further up the standing. So yeah,
Or was Kiki? Has Kiki gone off the road? Kiki has. Kiki's made a mistake midway through. Maggots and Becketson has spun the car through Chapel. So what a shame for Kiki. We were saying this before the stream went live. Kiki has looked like a race winner from the season started, and he's made so many crucial errors that have cost him. And from a great pole position and running second in this race, has spun all the way down to 14th. And that now means we have a Haas 1-2. Nolan leads from Steph. Two drivers that haven't won yet this season, but B. Morgan, crucially, fastest man on the track, now third. All of the stars seem to have lined for B. Morgan. Currently runs on the podium and is pulling away from his nearest championship rivals.
Yeah, and we've seen B. Morgan, his race pace is really, really good. And TNR Steph is losing a little bit to Axel Nolan, probably because it startled him that Kiki went off the road. He's using his ERS now to get back to it, because elsewhere he would really be just a sitting duck for B. Morgan in the next DRS zone, but he's back now, all good. And the three have quite a gap to Jen now.
Yeah, 1.6 seconds. Simply Superman looking much faster than Jan at this point in the race. So you've got to say, if Simply Superman made his way through, he could maybe catch the top three in this race. He is looking the faster man, and he did qualify higher than pretty much all of these drivers in front of him on the road, apart from Nolan. So he's really dropped at this start of this race. And Breaker Fenner's equally looking quite as fast. And like we said in qualifying, that car looked incredibly stable. So it looks like it's suiting him well in the race as well. But he is using a lot of ERS to try and stick with his teammate, who is on the back of Jan, coming up towards Stowe, but isn't close enough to make the move stick. Jan holds the line as Steph picks up our first time penalty of the race. That is crucial. They are very easy to pick up at this track. It's so easy to run offline here because the curbs really don't affect the car. So that's one thing to look out for, and that's already another place gained for B. Morgan.
Yeah, it is. So the only thing B. Morgan has to do is stick with him and drive a clean race. And maybe wait for Axel Nolan to make a mistake, but probably seeing B. Morgan racing this season, he isn't gonna wait, and eventually he's gonna try to pass the both of them.
Yeah, it won't be too long, and they're now 2 seconds clear of Jan, who continues to fall away. Simply Superman just can't find the space really to get that move done, so they are starting to lose time. Breaker Fen, you've got to say that Jan really is holding up. Simply Superman, Breaker Fen, Hero Jokin and Langfell at this point in the race are all really within 0.4 of a second of the car in front, so they're very, very tightly packed. Kiki, the next person with a time penalty, him and Flores are battling, coming through Lovefield. Kiki trying to go all the way around the outside, but Flores is going to have the run on the exit of the corner. Kiki will have the ERS on though, round the outside of Woodcut. He's not going to go all the way around the outside of Cops, is he? He gets the move done before Cops. Flores backs out of it, so Kiki's up into 12th place, trying to recover after that spin. Let's see where he can get in this race. Tekken, meanwhile, in the background, picks up a penalty as he runs wide, coming out of Cops. Lighty runs 16th at the moment after that spin at Stowe earlier on, trying to recover in his race as well. So a lot of big names struggling towards the back of the field. Meanwhile, Simply Superman again trying to move on Jan down towards Stowe, but just cannot get the move done. And Simply Superman at this point in the race must be feeling very frustrated.
Yeah, he probably is. But you can see Jan is driving around with not that much downforce on his car. I mean, in a straight line, it's just not. Simply Superman isn't able to pass him, and he gains a little bit in the corners. But yeah, he's just have to keep patient and wait for a mistake of Jan, I think, in order to pass him.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Simply Superman, 0.3 of a second, 2/3 of a second coming through Aintree. This might be a run for him. He's using his ERS. Jan is kind of move maybe to the inside line, and Simply Superman turns his ERS off. He's going to look to the inside line. That's a really late dive, and he hits him. That was far too late from Simply Superman. Kind of a desperate attempt, a half-hearted attempt down the inside. So that's put Simply Superman and Jan down the field. That now puts Break FN up into 4th. He's gifted 2 spots in this race. Hero Jokins up to 5th. Langfell's up to 6th. Jan drops to 7th. Sean's now up to 8th on the medium tyres, right in the thick of this. So his race is coming on song as Steve in the background works his way past Harry Nawalg for P10. But that was a day late and $1 short from Simply Superman.
Yeah, it was just... I finished my sentence of him having to be patient, and he dived down the inside, which was too late. I mean, the gap always closes there. Yeah, unlucky for him, but more important now, B. Morgan is driving around in P1, although he's third on track because Nolan had a penalty as well.
Yeah, Nolan now with his first penalty of the race, so both Haas cars with penalties. B Morgan hasn't got a penalty as of yet. Now the crucial part of this race is Nolan and Steph. What is their pace? Can they hold B Morgan up? And can the likes of Break FN and Hero Jokin start to close in this race? That is crucial for the rest of this one. Or are the top three going to break away from the rest of the field in this one? You've got to say no now, though, that it looks like Hero Jokin might be the faster of these guys. He's all over the back of Break FN coming through the middle, the first sector of this lap. Hero Jokin's got a brilliant run coming out of the loop, but just doesn't get on the ERS early enough coming out of the corner. He might not be close enough, although he's using the excess ERS he has over Break FN. Down towards Brooklands, looks to the inside line, and that is how you get a move done at Brooklands. He's much further down the inside line. Break FN forced onto the curb. Nothing that he could have done. Hero Jokin now up into 4th place. Great move from the AlphaTauri, the man to start chasing after the top 3 drivers.
Yeah, and he looks really fast. I mean, he did it within a lap, so let's see if he can crawl up to B Morgan and maybe surprise him and put the pressure on B Morgan, because that really is what Nolan and Steve need at the moment, because they just seem to be unable to break away from B Morgan.
Yeah, B Morgan hanging tight at the back of this one at the moment. The top 3 separated by less than a second. They're so close. Steph has a look down the inside of his teammate coming into Stowe. That was another little bit of a half-hearted move, and he gets a wobble on coming out of the corner, but B Morgan isn't close enough to capitalise on it. Again, a lot of people going for late dives here because the braking zones are so short at these tracks. You kind of have to go for a late braking manoeuvre to get the move done. That was another one, and Steph, it looks like Steph now running in second place is getting a little bit frustrated, running in second behind his teammate, and this is what caught Steph out in Baku. We got too impatient and made mistakes, and it looks like the same fate could befall him if he continues this kind of drive.
Yeah, it does. He really has to stay patient and pick the right moment to overtake him, as there is a yellow flag.
That's via Kelvin. Kelvin spun at the final corner. I don't know if he was aided in that, but he's got away with no damage by the looks of things, but he now drops down to 16th place. He is now running completely on his own. Isotopic, meanwhile, he still runs on those hard compound tyres, but you can very clearly see he is struggling for pace at this point in the race, is nowhere near the drivers in front. He's going to have to hope for a safety car to bring him back into this one. That puts Lighty now up into 15th on his recovery back through the field. Meanwhile, another person to look at in this race, obviously Sean running in behind Jan on those medium tyres. Steve, after a poor start, has worked his way back to the back of this queue as well, so he, on the medium tyres, is also looking equally as competitive.
Yeah, he does. Sean and Steve are doing a really great job. And Sean, at the moment, looks faster than Jan, who's being held up by Langfell and Brake. And just before Kelvin spun, Hero Jokin was already a second away from Break FM, but made a little mistake, and now everybody's back on his tail again. So he has to start again, save up a little bit of ERS before he does that. But
we've got our first pit stop in the meantime. Second place man TNR Steph is into the pit lane, trying to undercut his teammate then. End of lap 8, start of lap 9. That should be enough time for the mediums to get to the end of the race. He will struggle in the final few laps, but like we said, the tyre wear isn't massive around here, so he should get away with it. Where does he come out on track relative to other drivers? He'll be behind Lighty, but in a lot of clean air, so he should be able to use the freshness in those medium tyres to maybe undercut his teammate. And while this may be good for Steph's race in terms of his battle for the race victory, this is going to severely compromise Haas in their battle with B Morgan. Meanwhile, Break FN loses another place, and now Langfell's up to 4th from 12th on the grid. He's had a great start to this event.
Yeah, he does, and really curious what he's gonna do. If he's gonna try to extend his soft run a little bit, or if he's trying to undercut Hero Jokin. B Morgan is really looking fast at the moment. Really close in Nuggets now.
Yeah, he just immediately caught onto the back of Nolan after Steph moved out the way. He was back right within 0.3 of a second of our race leader, as Break FN is the next person to pick up a time penalty. B Morgan may be going for the move at Stowe down the inside of JD Nolan. Nolan gives him the space. Around the outside Nolan goes, and Nolan and B Morgan are both into the pit lane at the same time. Miran, Hero Jokin and Langfell are now running side by side. They both stay out, so they're still going. B Morgan and Excel Nolan into the pit lane then. Another person into the pits, that's Break FN. He's in the Alfa Romeo as well, but that now means we have Hero Jokin in the race lead. But Langfell was looking incredibly fast. He caught Hero Jokin so quickly and is now swarming all over the back of him.
Yeah, as Kiki has a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and Sean has a penalty now. So penalties all over. There's going to be a really deciding factor at the end of the race, I think, and it can cost you multiple positions. But yeah, Langveld is really, really looking fast. Again, all over Hero Joken, and probably it's going to make his life really hard in this lap, and tries to. I think if he gets in front of Hero Joken, he's going to be the first one to pit of the two.
Yeah, it does look like that will be the case then, as meanwhile Vloris has lost a couple of places. Lighty's down the inside of Tekken. He's continuing his fight back through the field. He's now up into 8th place ahead of Vloris and Tekken. His next target will be Harry Noir, but Harry Noir is 10 seconds up the road, so Lighty well out of contention at the moment. Meanwhile, battle for the net race lead. Look at the gap Steph has been able to pull in a lap. He is 2 seconds clear of Nolan. That is an amazing undercut from Steph, so he has now got a comfortable advantage over Nolan. And if he can continue to extend that and Nolan holds B Morgan back, Steph could still win this race even with that penalty.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I think eventually B Morgan is gonna pass Nolan, but yeah, in theory it's possible, and but he really needs to keep his pace up. And in the final stages of the race, you have to be a little bit careful with the tires. So I hope he can, but I think B Morgan is already all over him and probably gonna pass him here.
Yeah, I would not be shocked. Meanwhile, Langfeld and Hero Jokin are both into the pit lane along with Langfeld and Harry Noir. Langfeld, Hero Jokin, simply Superman, and Harry Noir, sorry, my mistake. They're all into the pit lane. Steph with the fastest lap of the race at 27.7. That's a brilliant lap time from Steph. P. Morgan, like you say, though, all over the back of Nolan. Surely he's going to get this move done as early as he can. Further behind, Hero Jokin comes out head of the queue, but he's been undercut by Break FN. So Break FN lost those places before the pit stop phase, and by coming in a lap earlier, he now leads this queue of cars by 2 seconds. So the undercut here at Silverstone incredibly powerful.
Ooh, yellow flag, what
That's
happened?
Tekken spun the car. Meanwhile, B. Morgan's understeered into the side of Nolan, coming through Brooklands, trying to go for the move. Nolan defends the place fairly. B. Morgan a little bit deep on the brakes into Brooklands, kind of just understeers into the side of him. Nolan holds on for the time being, but this is going to continue to cost these two time. So let's wait and see how this one pans out. But B. Morgan, you've got to say, easily the faster of the two drivers as they now come through Cops and up towards Maggins and Beckett's next run for B. Morgan will be down the hanger straight. But Nolan looks like he's going to get DRS off of Tekken in front. So that's really going to help his cause. Is he going to get held up by Tekken coming through Chapel? I think he'll get away with it. Tekken is going to move maybe to the left-hand side. He does. Nolan breezes past in a straight line. B. Morgan's going to want to do the same thing. He does. He's still got a run on Nolan then. Goes to the inside line. Nolan tries to go all the way around the outside of Stowe. B. Morgan tries the move but still can't get it done. There's contact on the exit of the corner. B. Morgan's in the wall. Championship leader, after contact with Nolan, spins the car out, and we have a full safety car in this race. That has blown everything wide open. Nolan got a time penalty for that contact. I don't think you can blame Nolan. Nolan was only trying to keep the car on the track. B. Morgan was trying to keep him as tight to the exit of the corner as he could. They made contact, and our championship leader out of the race.
Yeah, this is just massively, he's massively gonna suffer, and this is the chance now. Probably Isotopic is furious about what happened at the race start, because this was his chance to get some good points and really get close to B. Morgan again in the championship standings. But yeah, what to say? I think it's what you said, an unfortunate event between the two, because it was just some fair hard racing and a little touch mid-corner, and he lost the car.
That is such a shame for B. Morgan. He wasn't able to get away with that. But here's an interesting dynamic to this race then. Obviously, Sean on those medium tyres, he's going to come in lap 13 onwards. Could he get the softs to the end of the race? It will be a tall order, and he'll have to be very kind on them, especially under the safety car period, which looks like it could be quite a long safety car period, because they're nearly a lap ahead of Isotopic. So the safety car could be out for 3 laps. They're all in. Jan stayed out on the soft tyres. Now, has this worked in his favour? This could be massive for Jan's championship. Championship leader out. He's second in the championship, 17 points behind. Finishing on the podium would put him in the lead of the championship. Let's see what he does. He'll be on to the medium tyres. This will hold Steve up, who's in at the same time as his teammate here. So in comes as Lighty picks up a time penalty for speeding into the pit lane, unfortunately. Sean's gone for the hard tyres. He doesn't think that those softs can get to the end, and that is a shame for Sean. Those hard tyres have absolutely no pace around this track. Now, where does Jan come out relative to our race leaders? Steph goes past us. He goes past down the pit straight. He's back into the net race lead. Nolan will be next to go past, or will he go past? That's the thing, Nolan does go past, but Jan's out in 3rd place. This is massive for Jan's race. He has fresher tyres than both Haas cars, no penalty, and a hard shod Sean directly behind him on the track. This could be crucial for Jan's championship.
Yeah, I think he really, because of this safety car and him staying out, because that was before the safety car came in, I was just want to address what's the strategy gonna be. But he holds the best cards for a race win today, and yeah, a good one as well. I mean, fresh tires after the safety car, all the tires are not going to be that warmed up, so even pace probably. So I think he's going to be taking this one if nothing weird happens today.
If you were in Sean's position, he's gone for the hard compound tyres. When we cross the line, we will be halfway through the race and halfway through the season. We will have 13 laps left in this race. Would you have taken a gamble and just gone for the soft compound tyres, hoping they'd make it to the end?
Yeah, I would, but yeah, I have kind of funny strategies with tires, and I don't know why, but I can spare them pretty good. So I would have taken the gamble and go for the soft tires, because the hard tires is just going to be falling like a brick probably, because they have no pace, and the only positive thing that can come out of this is for Jan, that he's going to be holding up everybody behind him.
Yeah, that is really crucial for Jan's race, that Sean could be a real blockade. Sean might come back towards the end of this race, but when the medium tyres, even though they obviously lose in terms of tyre life, the pace drop off in the mediums is very minuscule, so that's going to be a real problem for Sean in this one. Steve is the only one that started on the mediums that took the gamble and went for the soft compound tyres. He currently runs 8th even after being held up in the pit lane, so he's still gained massively after all of that, and he's got medium shod drivers in front of him and a hard shod runner. Steve, another one to look out for in this race then on those soft tyres, but he has got to pass the likes of Hero Joker, Langfell, Break FN very early in this race if he wants any shot at a podium.
Yeah, because that is the thing. If you're in all kinds of battles on the soft tires, they are gonna wear, and you're probably not gonna make it. So it is really important for him to pass them relatively quickly, or just save up his tires and don't do anything stupid and just wait for save up his ERS, what everybody's gonna do now. But hold on for it for a couple of laps and pass everybody on the straights. Because your exit is going to be so much faster than the other guys.
Yeah, it really is, and we've already seen so far today that people can get too impatient when going for moves, and it has cost people their races so far. We've already seen the likes of Jan. I'm still amazed to believe that Jan got involved in an incident at Brooklands a few laps ago, and he's now running 3rd in this race, but he was hit by Simply Superman on the way into Brooklands, and they fell down to the likes of 7th and 9th place in the field. Simply Superman, from 3rd on the grid, now runs 9th. This was a massive opportunity for both Simply Superman and Isotopic. Isotopic, out of it really through no fault of his own, picked up damage before he even got to turn 1. Simply Superman has just kind of made a few errors, very uncharacteristic errors. You usually see Simply Superman be a very cool, calm and collected driver who is able to defend and overtake with ease. This time round, it's the first real time we've seen him make a mistake like that, and he's now towards the back end of the top 10, not really gaining as many points as he should have maybe been able to with the pace he's got. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. I mean, normally he's quite calm and just picks his moments of overtaking, and his defending really good and strong. But yeah, in the end today, it's his little mistake, but it opens doors for other guys like Jan, for example, to just get into the mix and say goodbye to them.
How this race pans out, the safety car is in, then Steph will lead them to the green flag. He hasn't gone yet, he's still waiting to go. It looks like he's going to go now. He goes on the exit of club. How has Nolan reacted? Not very well, so Steph's got a good enough gap back to his teammate as they restart this race. And look in the background, Langfell flying off the safety car restart all over the back of Hero Jokin going into turn 1. Can he get a move for 6th place maybe towards the farm section? Looks to the inside line, but Hero Jokin defends that line, so Hero Jokin will stay in 6th place for the time being. Langfell holds 7th as it seems. Steve running in 8th on the soft tyres has got to get these moves done if he wants to challenge for that podium place. Sean on those hard tyres already losing pace to Jan in front, nearly a second back, with Break FN starting to look at moves maybe to get past that Red Bull driver who was again gained massively behind the safety car period. But at the front, Steph, brilliant restart, and you've got to say at the start of the race it did look like Steph was the faster of the two Haas cars, and now that he's out in front he's definitely showing it.
Yeah, I mean, not even one lap gone, and he has a second already. But he is using a lot of ERS. Nolan is saving up a bit, so it can be just temporary. But and Jen is really.
Well, Steve, look at Steve. Look at the run Steve's got through Chapel on the back of Langfell. He's all over the back of the Racing Point man. Still no DRS, but he's trying to move to the inside line, trying to get that move done. At the same time, Langfell's having a move at Hero Jokin. Steve goes for the inside line. Langfell on the outside of the corner doesn't have the grip to fight it. Steve is up into 7th place. Good move for the Mercedes man. Next target for him will be Hero Jokin, who looks like he didn't get off to the best of safety car restarts, so he could be easy meat. The AlphaTauri driver Steve up into 7th place. Simply Superman's trying to get a move on as well, currently 9th on the back of Langfell as well. Isotop further down is trying to get a move on as well, trying to get past Tekken, and Tekken has already lost 1.3 seconds to Lighty in front, so they're starting to drop off the back of this Cubicast as well. Back to the front of the field though, like you say, Steph using a lot of ERS to try and pull away, and he's still using that ERS to do that. Nolan is saving a bit more, Jan saving even more than that, so maybe Jan playing the long game, waiting for the end of the race.
Yeah, but he really has to use a little bit now to stay in DRS, because when it is being reactivated, and I don't think it's going to be happening that Steve and Nolan are going to work together, because they really look racy and wanting to take the win on track eventually. But he really has to stay in DRS range, because he didn't lose Sean on the hard tires yet.
Yeah, Sean's actually got relatively competitive enough pace on these hard tyres, which I am shocked to say, if I'm honest. I would have expected Sean to just kind of plummet at this restart, but he has used, look at the ERS that Sean has used. He's already down to 10%, and that is why he's kept so close to the back of Jan, who has 70%, so that's why he's stuck right with him, just maybe desperate to keep with him until the DRS becomes active, and then that will make it easier for him to be able to stay close to the back of the Mercedes man. Break FN close enough maybe to have a look at Sean, but still not close enough to make a move stick. DRS is now enabled. Who's the closest person that's going to make a move? You've got to say Break FN maybe, or maybe Steve on the back of Hero Jokin, but Hero Jokin will have DRS on Break FN in front, so it's going to be even more difficult for Steve to make that move stick as they all come through that first sector. Steve's still looking very racy on these soft tyres, and you've got to say, with the pace that Steve's already showing at the safety car restart, it would have been a no-brainer for Sean to go onto the soft compound tyres.
Yeah, and he probably could have gained a couple of positions, because Jen is losing a bit out to Nolan and Steve. What is surprising, because he looked really fast in the race today. Steve is just almost in the gearbox of Hero Jokin around every corner. I mean, he has so much more grip around the corners, but isn't able to overtake him yet.
Yeah, not able to get the move done, and the DRS actually being active might have actually hindered his chances, because now 3 drivers in front of him will have DRS. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Nolan's closed back in on his teammate. Nolan has 35% more ERS than Steph, and he's been able to keep with him. So it looks like it's kind of swinging back towards Nolan as Kiki spun again. Same corner at Chapel. Kiki's gone off the road from pole position by a country mile. What a disaster this race has been for him. A race he needed to put himself in championship contention. Currently languishing down in 8th place in the standings, and again another great opportunity has gone for Kiki. Only person behind him on the track is Flores, as Steph picks up yet another penalty. Second penalty of the race. That all but confirms Jan is the race leader of this one. Nolan still has that 1 penalty. Jan has nothing. Jan well in the pound seat to take this race victory. And at the moment as well, we've got to look out for Hero Jokin, currently running 6th. Both drivers in front of him have time penalties, and Steph has 6 seconds of time penalties now, so it's not out of the question that if Hero Jokin continues his march forwards, he could still be on the podium in this race.
No, yeah, he really could. I mean, the safety car all packed everything up back up together, so yeah, he's not out of contention. And as Nolan is gonna be starting to battle with Steve, maybe picks up another penalty, and yeah, then we will really have a chance of a podium.
Yeah, it'll be game over for both Haas drivers if they pick up another penalty. Lighty's the next one to pick up another penalty on those hard compound tyres. Isotopic, meanwhile, has worked his way past Tekken. He's now within Lighty's DRS range, so he's trying to work his way back inside the top 10, trying to capitalise on other people's penalties. Isotopic, the only other person in this race that doesn't have a penalty yet. That is one thing that he will be able to hold towards the end of this one. Steve still trying to get the move on in Hirojokin. Hirojokin runs wide and picks up that crucial penalty, so that could take him out of range, and Steve down the inside of the Vale chicane. Hirojokin just gives him the space and will have the better momentum around the outside of the corner, but Steve now has a run coming through Club, looks up to the inside of the final corner. That wasn't smart from Steve. He hops over the curb and it ruins his run down towards Abbey. He won't be close enough. Will he be close enough into Farm? He picks up another penalty himself as well, so good opportunity at making a move stick on Hirojokin. Went away by being maybe a bit over ambitious.
Yeah, it is, and everything's starting to come to Isotopic for picking up.
Steve meanwhile's got a great run through Aintree. Sorry to cut you off there, but Steve has got a brilliant run through Aintree. Looks to the inside line once again down towards Brooklands. He's late on the brakes down the inside. Hirojokin just gives him the space, and Steve still can't get that move done. You can tell he's getting irritated. Currently running in 7th place. Hirojokin swarming all over the back of Break FN, who's swarming all over the back of Sean, who is still within DRS range of Jan at this point in the race. So it's just a queue from Jan back all the way down to Harry Nawalk at the moment in 10th, and no one can make any move stick.
No, yeah, when you're stuck in the DRS range, it's so hard. But Steve is taking some serious risks now. I mean, I saw him putting his foot to the pedal on the curbs there, and that's really dangerous, and you could lose your car. So yeah, he needs to get a move on, but he needs to calculate his risks.
Yeah, meanwhile, Isotopic has worked his way past Lighty. He's up into 11th place. He's within penalty range of Harry Nawalk at the moment. As these guys continue to battle, Isotopic will only continue to gain on them. So Isotopic is trying to throw himself back into contention in this race. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Nolan still hasn't got that move done on his teammate. You've got to say at the moment, Break FN maybe is the one struggling the most. He's not close enough to challenge Sean on those hard tyres, and he's coming under all sorts of pressure from Hirojokin behind, who's on his DRS almost immediately coming out of the loop section, trying to get the run on Break FN, but Break FN gets the better run down the straight. Steve tucked right in the rear wing of Hirojokin, again goes for the inside line into Brooklands, but isn't close enough to make the move stick. But that's the problem for Steve at the moment, is the driver in front of him is also on the attack, trying to get past Break FN. Hirojokin's not even thinking about defending against Steve, and that's allowing Hirojokin to keep that place.
Yeah, it is, and as soon as Break FN loses touch of Sean, probably there's going to be a mix-up in Hirojokin, Steve, and Break FM. So it's really crucial for Hirojokin as well that Break doesn't.
Break's got to run on. It's the other way around. Break's got to run on Sean down the back straight. He's going to look down the inside towards Stowe. Sean has no DRS to defend with. Break had barely any DRS to attack with, but he's got the move done on the Red Bull this time round. He's up into 4th place. Sean, can he try and work his way back down the inside at the Vale Club chicane? No, he can't. But this is all allowing Jan to now break away from this queue of cars and focus fully on the Haas cars. Hirojokin sideways coming out of Club and going on to that final corner, just about holds onto it, but as they continue to battle, Isotopic continues to close in, and Isotopic is dragging Lighty with him at this point in the race as well, so look out for them as this race goes on. Break FN was the one that made the move stick. Kiki with the fastest lap of the race, just proving what pace he had and how it's kind of wasted at the moment, down in 15th place. Steph, meanwhile, at the front of the field continues to back up to 9/10 of a second. Nolan running in second. You've got to say Nolan maybe knows about Steph's penalty, doesn't want to take the risk of overtaking him for fear of losing even more places than he will with that penalty he's got himself.
Yeah, and I think Jan knows as well that Nolan and Steve have the penalty, because he's losing out a little bit, but not massively, and still stays safe from Break FM. But the thing now, Sean is gonna really hold up Hirojokin, so either Hirojokin has to pass Sean as Break FN did, or he's gonna be in trouble against TTML Steve.
Steve looking very fast once again as Hirojokin gets a great run through Chapel, but Sean doesn't touch the grass. Hirojokin did touch the grass. That's going to affect his run all the way down the straight. Sean not close enough to go back at Break and down towards Stoke. Doesn't have any DRS left. So he stays in 5th place for the time being. Hero Joking stays in 6th. Steve stays in 7th. Simply Superman trying to look at a move maybe at Langfell. Has a look down at the inside of Vale. Doesn't go for it though. Thinks better of it this time round. Stays in 9th place. All the while, Isotopic is now within 2 seconds of Harry Noir, so he continues to close in on this queue of cars. He will gain at least on Simply Superman and Harry Noir, and maybe even his teammate Langfell at the end of this one, based on how close it is from Break FN all the way down to Harry Noir. No one is any greater than 0.6 of a second behind the car in front. Everyone is so close here. We've only got 4 laps to go when we cross the line next time round, so there's still a long way there's still only a few laps left in this one. There's not a long way to go in this, as Steve again gets a great run down the Wellington straight, looks down the inside of Hero Joking. He's late on the brakes once again, and again Hero Joking just drives clean around the outside and holds it. Steve maybe the outside line at Luffield, but Hero Joking sensibly moves the car to the outside line, holds the place. Break FM was in the gravel up in front of these drivers, but it doesn't cost him to Sean in front. Meanwhile, one thing to look out for here, Jan's gap now to Nolan is 2.5 seconds. It's getting perilously close to Jan losing this race to Nolan at this point.
Yeah, and that it's crucial to stay within those 3 seconds. I mean, he has enough of ERS, and he really needs to use it now to get back at them, because he didn't lose out that much first couple of laps, but he's losing out a couple of tenths a lap now. So yeah, it's gonna cost him his first place, and Nolan is gonna be profiting of that.
Yeah, it will profit off at the moment. It's 2.6 seconds, so it's just 4 tenths away from what he needs. And yet again, Steve is looking fast on these soft tyres. He's made these soft tyres last so far. He's not fallen off. He's still looked the fastest of the drivers in this queue of cars, but just hasn't been able to work his way through the queue of cars because of the DRS train that has formed. So he'll be getting even more frustrated as this race goes on. He'll be thinking that maybe a top 4 in this race was possible, as Hero Joking gets a terrible run out of the loop this time round. Surely Steve's going to have the run down the inside as Langfell picks up his second penalty of the race. But again, Hero Joking's car in a straight line is very fast. Sean's now going for the move down the inside of Break FN, and Brooklands can't get it done. They move on Hero Joking as he did the lap previous, and again, that's maybe 4 or 5 times that Steve has tried that move, and it hasn't worked. Steve has got to think of something else if he wants to get through. Yeah, he needs to pick a different point to overtake, and maybe surprise Hero Joking, because he's really close all the time. But look at Isotopic. He's almost within DRS range already. He is now. Wow, he is.
He's closed that gap so quick. It's just incredible.
It's such a shame that he's had that incident right at the start of the race, because he could have been right at the front battling for the win. Meanwhile, as they battle for the win, Nolan's all over the back of his teammate. It's only 2 tenths of a second as they came through Stowe, and the gap now between him and Nolan, 2.8 seconds. It's getting even closer to Nolan taking this win as we've got a yellow flag. It's he's out of the race, spun at Stowe, the same spot as B. Morgan has spun, out of 6th place. What a shame. Steve must be smiling from ear to ear. Finally, Hero Joking is out of his way. Sean will be his next target, but that promotes everyone behind up another place. Who is going to be the next person to try a move in this one? You've got to say it's going to be Steve. He's looking fast. He's on the soft tyres. He's got the hard runner of Sean in front of him, and Sean has no ERS in that car whatsoever. He's actually as I say that, he's probably got a little bit more than Steve coming through Aintree, but Steve's not going to be close enough this time round. It's so close, all the way down to 10th place at the moment. Isotopic looking at the back of Harry Noir, and Harry Noir coming a little bit detached from Simply Superman. But Isotopic at this point in the race doesn't need to make the move. He could probably gain 4 or 5 places on penalties alone. Yeah, just because he doesn't have a time penalty, and I don't know, maybe some guys have multiple penalties, so yeah, he's just in a good spot, and if I was him, I wouldn't make too many mistakes, as Jan has really fallen off. It's 3.2 seconds now, and that's probably why Nolan really wanted to pass Steve, because he has the gap, and he has to keep the gap in order to get P1. Yeah, meanwhile TTML Steve is looking down the inside. Sean coming up towards Stowe, but Sean's got a good car in a straight line, holds the line, and Steve down the inside line of Sean tries another move. Isotopic in the background is around the outside of Harry Noir. Can he pull that off? Yes, he can. What a move from Isotopic all the way around the outside of Stowe. We said he didn't need to take the risk. He took a huge risk by going for that move, and he pulled it off. Great stuff from Isotopic. He's up another place on the road, and it's all behind Sean at this point. Break FN is breaking away, pardon the pun, just a little bit in 4th place. Sean runs 5th, but Steve is all over him. Look at him basically pushing him through this in the loop section. Has a look down the inside, but doesn't go for it. Can he get the run through Aintree off the back of Steve's car? Can he get enough straight line speed to get the move done? You've got to say Steve has compromised on straight line speed in this race, and it's not helped him in his march forwards. Still stuck behind the Red Bull man. Lang fell close to the back of him as well. Simply Superman a little bit detached in 8th place. Meanwhile, still a battle going for the lead. Nolan's going around the outside of his teammate, down through Woodcote and up towards Cops. He's going to get the move done before Cops. Nolan takes the race lead.
Great, and I think Steve just did the wise thing and didn't battle that too hard, because it could cost him a number of places as well. But this is what Nolan wanted. This is what he needed. Now he can just extend his gap to Jen and finish in P1 today. And I must say, don't want to curse him or anything, but it's well deserved after his driving from today.
Yeah, if he can pull this off to the end of this one, he's done a great job. Steve, meanwhile, still going for a move on Sean, but cannot get it done. Simply Superman had a look at Langfeld, but wasn't close enough. Isotopic has caught these guys very quickly, as now Sean's having to defend down towards the Vale Club chicane from Steve behind. Can't get the move done. Nolan sets the fastest lap of the race. What a lap from Nolan, a 27.2. No one, I think, is going to beat that one towards the end of this race, as again, Langfeld's looking fast behind Steve, trying to get a move done. Still no one could get a move done. Breaker Fenn's done a brilliant job in 4th place to hold on. 2.5 seconds off the back of Jan now has lost touch with the podium places. Jan will pick up 2nd in this race, but that win that he could have got is going to fall away as Steph picks up a 3rd penalty in this race. So that's going to drop him well down the field in this one. Let's see where he ends up. We're on the final lap of the race. Who is going to finish where on penalties? I haven't got a clue. It's so jumbled up at this point in the race. Isotopic just sitting there in 9th. Could be up into the top 5 at the end of this one on penalties alone. We'll have to wait and see. Through Luffield they go then. You've got to say that the next person that's maybe going to try a move has got to be Sean on those hard tyres. Is going to want to get ahead of Break FN, give himself the best opportunity to finish as high up as possible, because he'll jump through the field as well in the championship standings. Currently running 9th in the standings, I believe. Actually 8th in the standings, just ahead of Lighty. This could put him right into the top 5, and he's looking very fast on those hard tyres now that are starting to come towards him. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Steph's coming back at his teammate. Steph's going to go round the outside of Nolan up towards Stowe. Steph's back into the lead of the race on track, and look at how close Jan is. It's 0.2 of a second. It's so close at the end of this one. Steph will cross the line in the race lead. Nolan is losing pace at the end of this one. I wonder if he's running out of fuel in this race. Round the final corner, Steph's going to win on track. Nolan will come home 2nd. Where's Jan going to be? This is so close. Steph with the fastest lap. Nolan with a speeding penalty that we didn't see. Jan on the final lap gets the race victory in the end. Look at that. Isotopic ended up 2nd on penalties.
Wow.
Penalties in the end were crucial in this race. Isotopic fell to last at the end of the 1st lap, ended up 2nd on penalties. Nolan gets 3rd by less than 1/10 of a second. Steph with 3 penalties somehow held on to 4th, but both Haas drivers in the end really tripping over each other, just battling too hard as a team, cost them podiums today.
Yeah, and in the end, it didn't matter the 3 seconds, but yeah, they were really not giving each other an inch. But again, what a race! And Isotopic, out of nowhere, made a mistake, and out of nowhere just P2. And this is what he wanted: B Morgan out of the race, and him picking up P2.
Yeah, we were so sure that Isotopic was out of the running down last place by 1/2 a second on a set of hard tyres, 1/2 a lap down on the rest of the field. Ends up 2nd at the end of that one. That is brilliant for Isotopic and for Jan as well. That is Jan's 1st race win of the season. Take nothing away from him. That's his 4th podium of the season. That means he is now the most decorated person in terms of podiums this season in Division 3. His 1st win as well in Division 3 from last season and this season. He will now take the championship lead, and I believe Isotopic will go up into 2nd place. So now B Morgan, after that crash with the attempted move on Nolan and the crash, Isotopic recovering well and Jan driving smart, we now have a completely different complexion to this championship.
Yeah, we do. I mean, probably Jan takes 1st, and Isotopic, I think he's gonna pass him as well. So
yeah,
for a 2nd place, and B Morgan probably is gonna be 3rd. But wow, yeah, it's every week there's a different surprise waiting for us.
Yeah, how the tables have turned. They turn every week, like we say. But my word, that is a brilliant race. Jan wins some isotopic in the end. Penalties were crucial in that one. The top two, the only two that didn't get a penalty in that race. Nolan ends up on the podium. He had a great race, but just threw it away with penalties. Steph fourth in the fastest lap. Break FN, Sean, Simply Superman, Harry Noir, Langfell, and Lighty round off the top 10. Then it's Kelvin, Tekken, Kiki, Flores. Steve ended up 15th. Hero Jokin and B Morgan are only two retirements today. Two big names, both crashing on the exit of Stowe, unfortunately. B Morgan with contact. Hero Jokin, I think, just on his own, unfortunately. But my word, what a race that was. It was shaping up to be a great race. It was a great race, but it was not the winner I was expecting.
No, definitely not. And it was spectacular in a different way I expected. I mean, I expected a couple more overtakes, but in the end, the whole penalty situation, it was just exhilarating until the end.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how fast you are at a circuit, if you are not able to keep the car on the road and not able to keep the race penalty free, then you're going to lose out no matter what you do. You got to say that Nolan and Steph, and B Morgan as well before his crash, Nolan and Steph were easily the fastest two drivers today.
Yeah, they were, but they weren't able to keep it clean, and it looked like B Morgan was gonna be the big winner until the crash. But yeah, in the end, you see Isotopic finishing, I think, 8th or 7th on.
I think it was 9th on the track when he crossed the line. I think, yeah.
And if you keep your race clean, you're gonna end up high.
Yeah, exactly, and that's put him right in the thick of the championship battle. Just when we counted him out of it after that race, he's right back in the thick of it as well with a great opportunity. But yeah, Jan with his first race victory of the season, great stuff, and I believe that is now our 5th or maybe 6th different race winner of the season. I'm just going to count now. We've had Hero Jokin, B Morgan, Isotopic, and Martin Bell win a race. 5 out of 6 we now have in terms of race winners this season. Jan is our 5th race winner of the season, and to think that he now leads the championship and has had his 4th out of 6 podiums this season, to think that that's his first race victory as well is shocking to think. But hats off to Jan, what a smart drive.
Yeah, incredible drive, and not only today, but week in, week out. A lot of podiums already. So just great from him, and he's kind of a bit of the strategist, not winning all the races, but still he's on the top of the table.
He's doing exactly what his teammate F1 AMG did last season, and maybe when he can't win a race, he just finishes 2nd or 3rd. That's exactly what his teammate did last season, and that got him the championship. So, yeah, maybe on the same run of form as his teammate was last season. But that is where we're going to round off the stream today, guys. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning into the stream, for racing as well today. Thank you to the drivers for giving us another great show. And thank you as well to Conti for joining me in the commentary box once again on a Thursday evening. It is always a pleasure to commentate alongside you. And we will see you guys again this time next week for round 7 of the championship. We are officially halfway through this season. My word, this season has absolutely flown by. But yeah, tune in this time next week for the Belgium Grand Prix. That is going to be something to behold as well. That is a very, very difficult track to master, and that might be wet, so who knows, we'll have to wait and see. But either way,
it's always wet.
It's always wet. When is it not wet at Belgium? Yeah, either way, I'm sure it's going to be a good one. But from myself and Conti, it is thank you very much and goodbye.